Hi, everyone. This is April Cox. I'm here with Misty Black, and we are just getting ready. We had a fabulous meeting with Pencil Master today, and we realized that her book is going to be ready within like a week. So we are getting ready to analyze keywords and categories. And so we've launched Publisher Rocket, and I'm going to just record this session so that you can see what it takes to just analyze and pick your categories. And then I'll have a separate one, which we've done before, and we may have some follow-ups on for keywords as well. So I am going to just let Misty kind of walk through this because she's learning to do this herself. And when we do some coaching, her and I together, that's the best way for her to learn, is actually for me to kind of be with her as she walks through this. So thank you, Misty, for sharing your coaching session with everyone. So
Sure.
Go ahead and let's click on the category search.
Oh, I did not do that right. Category search.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the new version of Publisher Rocket, and this is a really good update that they've recently added with the categories that allows you to search for things in your search term and pull it from both the Kindle and the books. So it really gives you a good opportunity to just take everything that's available and be able to pull all the categories from it.
Okay, so at the top, I just typed in the keyword myth. We've already tried unicorn, we've tried slime, there wasn't anything. So I'm going to type in myth, and there's a few that have come up. So I like to take these and put them in a document so that I can save them. And then April was just telling me after to make a note of cells to number 10 and cells to number 1. Because when you're finding your category, you want to find at least a couple categories where it's not going to take you very many cells to get to number 1, so that you can be a best-selling new release and then hopefully continue on to a bestseller rank. So I'm just going to put that in here. Sorry, you can't see my other screen.
So Misty, if the notes underneath where it says sales to number 10, could you just like hover over that? I want to show people that they can, if they forget what it is, it says this is the number of books you need to sell in order to be the new number 10 book in that category. So it's just the number that you need to sell. I was thinking that this was within 8 days, but now that I think about it, that's for helium. Helium does things within 8 days. So this is just within a day. For that, at that moment in time, you need to have that many sales in order to rank number 1. So yeah, so that's why I wanted to check that out. So, and just because KDP only shows you 2 categories when you're setting up your book, doesn't mean that that's all the categories you can choose. You can choose up to 10 categories. You just have to follow up with Amazon separately in an email in order to get them to add the rest. So by copying and pasting these in a document, we're going to arrange them by the ones that are easiest to rank in. We'll choose a couple that are really relevant categories, and then we'll have that list, and we'll update 2 of them on Misty's book, and then the other 8 will go into an email to Amazon and let them know that we want them added to the book.
Okay, so what would be another word I could search for?
Horse was one that I saw a lot of unicorn books in horse.
Yeah, I've done that one. So just to show.
Now, what about crafting? Like when I think of slime, I think of crafting or like projects that kids do. I think of art. So do you want to think about some of those categories, and maybe like sometimes when you search for something, you'll find a category that looks really good, but it may not be as applicable to your book. Oh, here's one. When you're looking down here, this games magic. So that's kind of cool. And that's for sales to number 10. So to get onto that first page, that's not a bad thing.
Okay.
And the other thing here, the one that you just went past with travel, I could make a case that a book that has interesting things about art and potentially has, you know, coloring pages, activities, things like that would be a good travel book, a good book for them to throw in the car and take with them on the plane or, you know, other. So I would say that would be a good one to look at.
Okay, I'm going to put this one in for my coloring book, which I'm also going to do a coloring book.
Yep, so just make sure you have a bunch of dot to dots in there, and then it will be a very applicable category.
Not card games.
So now what about art? Oh, paper crafts, no. Let's see.
I'm just going to grab this for my
Games, board games. One of the things when you search for a term and there's a lot of different categories to it, what I would normally do is go to the sales to number 1, and I want you to order it by that category. So if you see right the up and down arrows beside the category, yeah, so what I want is the ones that have the least number of sales to number 1. And so then let's take a look and see whether we could make a case that any of these would be worthwhile or applicable to your book.
Just this one.
Yeah, that one probably would. It's still a high volume. What I would like to get is something that's, you know, a gold category that's like 20 sales or less. But we're going to take all of these applicable ones and throw them into your book, into your document here.
Crafts and hobbies. I don't know.
Yeah, you could say that that's a good one for the slime. So now let's think about themes for the book. So humor could be one. Does it have any kind of, like, I have a new book that's coming out that's going to be anti-bullying, so I might look up the word bully and pull things. So sometimes it's just like thinking about your book from different angles and entering some words that might be helpful for that.
Okay, I put humor, and none of these apply. It's not religious. It's not poetry. It's not a holiday.
That last one could apply. I've seen a lot of children's books that are not necessarily graphic novels. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was looking at the number 1 there, and I'm not. That first column doesn't. It actually is the best-selling rank of the number 1 book in that category. So that's not a good one.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Adventure.
That's high. Interactive adventures.
Oh, interactive is another word that we should definitely take a look at. One of the other things now, did you drill into children's books when we first went into the categories?
I did. See,
because the other thing that I've noticed is once we exhaust the children's area, then I would back up and try some different categories that are not children's books, because sometimes you'll find things that are a perfect fit.
Okay.
What about education and teaching, for example? Because when I think about the slime, it's tactile play. It's, you know what I mean? Like you could kind of connect it with some of the ideas and things that teachers are trying to reinforce in their classrooms.
Okay, so this is a really good one.
Yeah.
Is it applicable?
So these are why we do a little bit of, and I would just make sure that when you're typing up your description or the like bullet points under your description that you reference. If we take, for example, the next one, which is books, education and teaching, schools and teaching, I would mention that it's perfect for STEM and, you know, tactile play, because you can incorporate a craft, and it's also good for homeschooling because you can incorporate a craft of making the slime, the tactile play that, and you know, having that as well as teaching. You know, you'll probably come up with some teaching aspects of it that will be really applicable to their classrooms.
Okay.
So I always like to, you know, when I'm trying to figure out keywords, I bounce all over the place looking, categories. I will come in here and brainstorm on words. I'll talk with friends or like do like what we're doing right now and have another person to bounce ideas off of. The other thing that I do is I search for things on Amazon. For example, you know, best unicorn books or best slime books, like things that I know I would expect people to be searching for my specific book that I'm listing. And then when you find them, click in and see what categories that they're ranking number one in. It might, all of a sudden, something might jump out at you like, oh, I never really thought about that as an applicable category, but yes, that really is. So by researching your competition, you can also find some categories that you might not have thought of otherwise.
Okay, so do you want me to do that now or just keep going?
Early childhood education is a really good one. That's 1 in 1. And again, with early childhood education, your tactile projects and things are really very special and important. I would also look at early readers or reluctant readers, things like that, because a fun book that you can tie a craft to and that also is humorous will be very good for those reluctant readers or early readers.
And was that on here? Did you see that on here?
No, it just, the one that you just looked at made me think about looking for early readers in the education area. But I love the fact that we're seeing so many in this education area. And so this is a really good place for people who are out there watching us on replay. If your books are getting ready to go live, if what you're seeing here is sales to number 1 and sales to number 10 is 1. Like these are all brand new categories that Amazon uploaded. And so they're really easy to rank and get your bestseller ranking. It's good to grab it, and you know you're going to have to monitor your categories and performance, because as other people find these categories, they'll become harder to rank in as a bunch of slew of people go in there. But yeah, definitely check out education and teaching, because that is a good place for applicable things in children's books.
Okay.
So let's see what else. Crafts, hobbies, and home might be another good area, because slime is one of those things that homeschoolers will be doing as well. So let's just look at, yeah. What about the crafts and hobbies one there?
Which one?
The books, crafts and hobbies and home, and then crafts and hobbies. Now I'm getting excited because we're finding some really good categories that'll be easy for you to rank in.
Yes, me too.
For those of you who are also looking for things that aren't going to take a lot of time, or maybe a companion to your book, the guided journals would be a really good area to grab, because that's a brand new category and it's very easy. Things like, you know, a journal for kids to write in, but that also has writing prompts. If you've got a book that's focusing on a certain topic, that might be a really good companion for it, and it'll rank very well, very quickly. Activity books. That just helped me, because I have coloring and activity books, and I've not used this category before. So that's going to be a good little piece of information for me to have for that book too.
Okay.
And paper crafts can include coloring, by the way. So if you have a coloring book, you can use that as well for your coloring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put. Should we keep looking here or no?
Yeah. This is crafts, hobbies, and home. What I'm wondering is if we were to go back to, wow, there's a lot of categories here that are just one sale to the top. So yeah, just keep, what about antiques and collectibles, art? That's probably not as applicable. Yeah, just keep scrolling through and see if anything jumps out at you here. So we've scrolled through a couple of areas that have dogs and cats in them. Dog breeds, cat breeds, things like that. So there are, oh, wait a minute, you had one that had horses. Go back up. One of the areas, oh, horses, that's weird. Oh, this is pets care, never mind. But we did pass categories that were pet specific. So for children's book authors, if you've got a series about cats or dogs, you might want to look into this area and see whether or not there's, like, I have a book that's about a specific breed of dog. So if we had a specific category that spoke to that, then I could use it as well. Oh, we had clay. Didn't they have one that was clay?
Oh,
Keep going. I thought I saw clay.
play?
Well, I mean, isn't that like Play-Doh?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Play-Doh. So I would put slime in that category, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. All the better if they actually had one that was a slime category, but right now that's probably the closest that you can get to it.
Let's see what that. What's a word for Play-Doh that's not the brand name?
I think it was that polymer clay. I
Okay.
think that was it. Yeah.
I was just gonna search something else because I wanted to go back to children's books and put in
Yeah.
dog.
And I'd also, in children's books and in education, search for the word tactile.
I did. There wasn't
Oh,
anything.
there wasn't anything. What about STEM?
Hold on.
STEM.
In children's.
Yeah. It might be in education, but
Okay.
I just think that those are areas that teachers are always looking to do more with. And I'm actually then very surprised at how many things. Yeah, look at that. Number one.
So, is my book going to be one that teachers don't want to read to their kids because of the dog eating the slime, even though it's edible slime?
No, I don't think so. But I do think if you want to target this category, which I think is a good category, what it's telling me is that you want to be able to talk about whether it's in an article, a blog post, a companion like a teacher's guide that you might offer to them, ways that they can use your book for early childhood education and for the tactile end of it, for the STEM side of things, come up with ideas, crafts, things like that that they can use, and then offer that as a free companion for them to grab and advertise that in your book so that they know where to go to get it. So are there any high-level categories that we might have missed? You might want to scroll down and just see. We did education and teaching. What about humor and entertainment? Let's go in there just for giggles and see if there's anything in there that's, you know, really easy to rank in. I mean, yeah, exactly. So do you see how by limiting ourselves to children's books, we really do limit our reach? Because this certainly applies to humor and entertainment.
Yes.
Same thing with one that's like 3 more down. So based on our research, do you have any doubt in your mind that you will be a bestseller?
No.
No. And I will be clicking buy on the first book, so I will help get you there.
For your granddaughter, right?
Yes. My granddaughter Isabella is a slime fanatic.
This is for my coloring book.
So if I was looking for categories for a coloring book, it wouldn't be intuitive for me to go into humor and entertainment. But here we go, here we are. And what you're doing, I'll ask you to share with me so that I could also apply some of these to my book as well.
I sure will. I think you even fits under pop culture.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Does it?
Um, just grab it and throw it in there anyway. It might be a good one. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Slime certainly fits in that category, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Kindle.
But that's okay because you're going to need to set up your Kindle categories as well.
Oh, that
So,
one's
so as we're going through things, we want to make sure we have 10 for Kindle, 10 for regular books.
okay. So
So grab the Kindle one there
yeah, I
for
did.
humor, the one that we just went to,
This one.
2 more below that. So see how, oh, never mind. That one's not a good one.
Yeah, this one wasn't great either.
Mm. What about cats, dogs, and animals? Did you see that? Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, that's not good ranking though. But the next, well, it's not a movie, so never mind that.
Right. Okay. Science fiction, fantasy, gaming strategy.
I think now we've gone past the area where we've got any valuable. Oh, did you not rank them by a certain by sales to number one?
They didn't.
All right.
These are movies, television. Cooking. I like that one.
Yeah. And it looks like it's a number one. Um, it's an easy category to rank in, but it's also a new category.
Yeah,
Are you going to do word searches in your games? Because you want to probably grab the next one above that as well.
I am. Yep. Does Pradeep do all of that?
He will. Yep. If you ask him to, he will. If you just give him some guidance on what you want for your activity pages. And for those that are just watching this on replay, We're talking about Pencil Master, who is working on her book. They also offer when you created a book with them, they also offer you the opportunity to create coloring pages and activities for a very low cost to go also with the book. Are you doing crosswords? Because you just went past crosswords. There you go. At first I was discouraged. I'm like, oh, it's not going to be easy to rank this. But now we found so many really good categories in some of these other areas outside of children's books that I feel really good about your ability to rank there. Yep. I think that the book series, Misty, and the ones that are coming would be a really good, it fits well with creating a game that goes with it. Something creatively for you to think about in the future.
Like what?
Just a kid's game, a board game, or a game that goes, because think about all the things you're going to do, like with the 5 books or so in that series. I could see kids picking a card, telling them what to do. Or are they going to the fairyland? Are they going to, the pixie land? Did the slime just explode and now they have to go back to their home,
Sort
like,
of like Chutes and Ladders.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got enough out of this area, don't you think?
How many Kindle categories?
So I haven't even looked. I have 3 and they're not good. So we need to do that.
And the Kindle will be the first one that you put out there though, right?
Yeah.
So what I would do when you have the ability to click on ebook only. So when we go here, you can click on ebook, and let's make sure that we have 10 ebook categories. See in the top right where it says both book or ebook? Yeah, so now because we've got so many on the regular side, let's make sure that we get some good ones for the ebook as well. And I'm not really liking sales to number 1. There we go.
Is there a fairy tales folk? Let's see. We might have to. I think I didn't get that one for the Kindle. That's not a bad one.
Yep, that's a good category.
That one too. Or would you not do both of those?
I would do both, yes, I would definitely. Sometimes the 2 categories look very similar and then people shift in and out of them, so you may find that one performs better than the other.
This one will be good when I have the dragon.
Yeah, you can grab it for now to put aside for that. Although it's 78 sales for number 1, so it's not going to be that easy to rank in.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we did that one. Let's see. Mystery and detective, fantasy, scary stories, science fiction.
Yeah.
She has to find out where her slime goes, so.
The category below that kind of makes, like, I think a lot of the things that we write about, like fairies and pixies and things like that could fit in that category, but I really hate the category itself. I think it also has things like devil worship and things like that. So I've stayed away from the category, but it's certainly something that, you have to think about for yourself.
Yeah.
So now I think we've passed where it's any decent easy to rank categories. So we might want to back up into those other areas like education.
Okay. Oops.
And education theory would be fine.
This one doesn't say ebooks. Okay.
But it is an ebook category, isn't it? Oh no, wait, did you not select the, maybe when you backed out of it, now you have to like reselect both again?
But these are, yeah, that was weird. Oh, that was weird. Okay, we'll try this again.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to like reset itself when you get back to the begin, into that section.
Ew.
What about that parent participation? But can we just think about that for a minute?
I can grab it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that sounds like homeschooling, teacher slash parent activities, things that can happen together. I think it's probably a decent one.
We're in the nonfiction. I guess that's schooling. Not this one.
Yeah. What about the teacher resources reading? Although we're starting to get up too high, maybe, to make it worthwhile. Excuse me. Craft, hobbies, and home. Now, for those of you that don't have Publisher Rocket, you can go into Amazon, search for things, find categories where, you know, find those that have that rank high for the search terms you're looking at, and then go click on what categories they're listed at, and you can find categories that way. And that's how I did it when I first started, but you can see how much easier this is. And if you are in a situation where you don't want, or you can't go and purchase Publisher Rocket, then feel free to put some time on my calendar, and I will do with you the same thing that I'm doing here with Misty, and I can use my version of Publisher Rocket for you.
April, I was wondering, on your thing, on your coloring book, you have that if they buy the book, then you give them the digital coloring book. How do you do that? How do they automatically get that?
So what I do is I have a landing page that they go to, and I let them download resources like my literacy guide and my digital coloring book.
How do you advertise your landing page? Because Amazon came back to me and told me that I couldn't have my...
Yeah, I would put it in your book, inside your book.
Oh.
Tell them where to go to get it, and you can just mention that you have a free digital gift set with this purchase. And Amazon won't give you a hard time about that wording.
They wouldn't even let me promote that it was a matchbook where they could get the free ebook.
That's unusual, because I've seen many people do that. You just probably got somebody that you got the wrong person approving it. So sometimes what I do when I get rejected for a stupid reason, I make a minor tweak and I resend it in, and I usually get somebody different and they send it right through.
Okay, because my ebook's still not available, and I'm just don't know what to do.
I think we should call them, Misty.
I've talked to him several times. There's one girl that calls me back. She's super nice, and she's like, "Have you heard anything? I've pushed it through. I'm trying to make it urgent." So, I mean, I've talked to them 5 times on the phone.
Okay. In that situation, one thing I might do is unpublish it and then resubmit it, a whole brand new book with all the information inside.
Will I keep my reviews?
I mean, if this goes on for too long,
Will I keep my reviews?
you can just link them back up. You'd have to link them back up, link the ebook back up with the original that has all the reviews right now.
Most of my reviews are ebook reviews, so would I lose those?
Yeah, that's a good question. Before you go doing something that might cost you, you might want to ask them first.
I'm not finding anything in arts in ebook, and I'm wondering if it's most people just...
Okay, now here's the crafts and hobbies. So remember we talked about that that other word for Play-Doh.
I looked it up. It wasn't in here.
So let's see what else it has in the Kindle category, though, that's like that.
Yeah, I've been like what?
So we had rugs, lapidary. I think we were getting close, and let's see if there's anything.
Did I not rank this? Oh, I did. Horses riding, I don't know.
Yeah, it's certainly some. I've seen a lot of unicorn books. Like, I think that Amazon should add categories for unicorns and fairies, separate categories, because they have so many categories for a huge amount of things, but those two things that are very famous don't have their own categories, which doesn't make any sense to me at all.
So fairies doesn't? I can search fairies and won't come up with anything?
Nope.
Or pixies?
I didn't search for pixies, but there is no category for fairies. I work on Bobby Hinman's Best Fairy Book collection, and I have to look for all different like magic categories and fantasy categories, because they don't have. See, they have fairy tales, folks tales, and myths, but they don't have underneath there. There should be, a lower level category for those things, and they're not.
Okay. What else?
Now, one of the things that I also made a mental note of is that if you do a foreign translation, there's some really good categories that will rank you pretty high. Once you've got your book complete, you may want to think about having it translated, because you've already got all the beautiful illustrations. It's just a matter of taking the words and having them translated. So you'll end up with a whole new book and a whole new market and a very easy bestseller in those areas as well.